in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, till our hearts beat as one. Celebrate.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, we encourage you to pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue or issue trending. But you can interrupt us at any time and change the subject matter. What you have to say always take precedent over what we have to say. The number to call is 442-0175, 442-0175. And we on Facebook and YouTube, Sister Radio in Carriacou. And you can always go to the internet, and that is the beauty of the technology, and get Real FM 91.9. And you can hear us. We always encourage people to encourage your children to listen to us, because we pay particular attention to education. And we tend to want to have a conversation with people, particularly those who do not satisfy with the productivity level in Grenada or the Caribbean or Africa, and see how we could provoke discussion to help one another. We believe that even if the parents is not well lettered, or in short, if they're illiterate, they still could provide a good education for the children. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, you still could provide that kind of passion, that kind of hunger in your children to get properly educated. So we always encourage you to share our program. Share our program and like our program. You know, you can always press the like button and like our program and share it with your friends. Let them know, listen to us once, just once. And I'm certain you will listen to us again. I over the weekend, over the last 10 days, I've been paying attention to Iran. The world is a small place. A 22-year-old girl, Masha Amin, from Iran, was arrested by the morality police. And it appears that she died while in custody. The people of Iran believe she was beaten and killed, but the Iranians say she died from heart attack. Her parents say she was healthy. She come from the Kurdistan grouping, really. But Iran have this law where you must wear the hijab. That's a covering for the head, or the burqa, a long, loose garment that cover your whole body, and it tends to be of a darker color. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Mr. Pierre, in the election campaign, and you said that they're going to make a public service one. They will finish with the contract workers, because the contract workers, when they work in and they cannot go in the bank to get a loan, so they're going to finish with that, right? And what we find happening, what they said in the campaign, Normally, the government they're doing the opposite. Still have people on contract, they hire people back on contract, nurses and some teachers. Right? You see, they condemn that. And nobody, I do believe, in outside government, they know definitely every worker that working cannot be on contract. In all countries, they will be contract workers. Right? They also speak about empowering people. So if you want to empower people, you have to make people live better. Not some people live better, but everyone's life should be improved. But why is it happening? Because you might not support them. That is because if you did not support them, you did not vote for them. But I always say when you go in ballot election morning and you go behind it, you don't know people don't know who you vote for, who you don't vote for. And I do believe there's a lot of people who are supporters of other party. They were working and they were on contract. But when they hear that if they support NDC, they could have a permanent job and they could go in the bank or in a financial institution and get loan. They end up go and they vote. And what is the end result? The end result they receive a dismissal letter to go home. It's a pay ICDC unfair. If you promise people something, you should fulfill what you promise. That's my piece.
Caller, I have to agree with you. And I think what you should do is to keep your eyes and your ears open and try to get information on the amount of people that is affected. I believe that the National Democratic Congress sat down. In other words, they go in the lab and plan a strategy. And part of the strategy, they deliberately trick people. I take the strongest objection to that. The National Democratic Congress deliberately trick people. I understand it have been more extensive, but when they saw the list, some of individuals objected. They said, no, 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 we have to go slow with that. I was very disappointed with the minister in Carriacou because I think he had won the hearts of a lot of Grenadians because of his energy and commitment prior to the election and his ability, his stick-with-itiveness, which is so important in politics. I don't know if it's the lawyer that like weed and the radio station that seems to have a problem with Grenadians that helped to manipulate his genuineness, but the individuals out on a rampage to victimize individuals in Carriacou. A number of people has lost their job and continue to do so. And I'm very disappointed. I intend to stay on that topic for a long, long time until the Prime Minister agrees to recall the letters, rescind the letters, and return the people on the job. Until the union wake up. The Grenada Union is embarrassing people. I think other union leaders must be watching and must be wondering all the struggles of our forefathers in the past. The union seems to embarrass us. The people who are paying union dues, there are a number of people that lost their job. They were paying union dues. The unions have to be prepared to give back these people their money. You took the people money under false pretense. It is quite true that you call it agency fee. But based upon tradition, we represent those workers. And if you have no intention to represent those workers, simply because the government has incorporated political victimization in the policy, you take the people money under false pretense. Return the union dues to the people and give them interest for the time you take it. I think the code does award 6%. Give them back the money. You trick the workers. No union leader in the history of Grenada have been so blatant in deceiving the workers. I have not been hearing your voice. the government continue on its path to incorporate political victimization in its policy, and people are affected. The people that are affected are not the workers in the top echelons of society. So the unions are not perturbed. The people that are affected are the more marginalized workers. Don't tell me a worker working for 9 years, he on holiday, and then his friends say, well, boy, they read out a letter to us and tell us don't come back. He returned to work after the holiday, and the second day they call him in and say, stay home till further notice. Now, I want one union leader, one member of the NDC, any government minister, any lawyer in this country, tell us how that could be correct. Tell us how that could be correct. An individual working in a job for 9 years. Let us forget the fact that the National Democratic Congress in their campaign promised these people that we will make them permanent. Let's forget that part. Let's say that was only political talk and people shouldn't listen to that. Let us say that the National Democratic Congress are accustomed doing that. They did that in 2008 when they tricked the people in the seed program and when they also tricked the Imani. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Morning. Pierre,
Yes, welcome.
could I ask you something?
Go right ahead. Punch.
What grade you give the NDC party? You can meet for the past 2 months.
I will have to answer you that off. If that is the only question you want to ask, then I'll answer you off.
This is my grade. I'll give him a 10 out of 10.
Okay. Yes. The caller give the NDC a 10 out of 10, and nothing is wrong with that. It all depends on which side of the pendulum you are on and what are the things you take into consideration. If you are honesto, or you are the prince of hate, or you are a serious member in the NDC, you may blindly give them 10 out of 10. But I would not have given them 10 out of 10. Because of the level of immaturity, I would have given them 5. When I say, I hope they learn, I would have given them 5 for encouragement's sake. And I say, I hope they learn on the way. But the National Democratic Congress so far have been making nothing but blunders. One of the biggest blunders they made, they went to the poor of the poor, the marginalized in the country, and tell them they're going to make them permanent. If you support us, we're going to make you permanent. You will be able to go to the bank and get a loan that the government is using you. And these people bought their story and voted them in power. And from the day they reach in power, they started going after these people. The National Democratic Congress foreign minister, he said common decency would dictate that all the people in the foreign mission should go. And he said he would put Grenadians. This was undiplomatic language. Even today, there is a number of void in the diplomatic corps. And then the prime minister to come in and say, no, we're going to use Chinese too. We're going to use African. But he didn't. He said we're going to use foreigners. They presented a list. The National Democratic Congress come in a government where after every cabinet, there was a press conference. And the National Democratic Congress backtracked from that. And they decided that information must be on a need-to-know basis. The National Democratic Congress said that within 5 days, over 1,600 people sent in their CV and ready to serve on the boards. And obviously, the National Democratic Congress look as they're struggling to get people to serve on the boards because of the amount of duplication that they have. And most of the people come from the heart of the National Democratic Congress. So, caller, nothing is wrong in you giving them a 10. I would have given them a 5. I give them a 5 because of the newness, the inexperience. That's the only political party in history that found it necessary and compelled to form a transition team. In agriculture alone, they have about 12 persons to help the minister. They call it a transition team. They have so little confidence in the members that they believe every one of them needs a transition team. The Attorney General already started to make blunder of grandiose proportion. And she started to show her bitterness and anger for the same people she called eater food. Needy and greedy, needy and greedy. The same individuals now. She believes that the National Democratic Congress is correct to incorporate political victimization as part of the policies based upon my interpretation of what she has said. No other political party has done that before. So I would not give them a 10, Chief. I'll give them a 5. But I respect your right to give them a 10. Yes, and it was on the question of Iran. And I think it is important. It's very important to speak for people in Grenada to understand that, because the world is a small place. And in Islamic countries, there are very strict laws on what people wear, particularly women. So they have the burqa. And the burqa is a long, loose garment covering the whole body from the head to the feet. And more often time, you have to be black or of a darker color. It's like a veil. It is to guard the woman from being objectified. Kind of opaque color. It does not attract unwanted attention. So they cover the woman from head to foot because they don't want her to attract unwanted attention. They say she could distract men. So they cover her from head to foot. What caused the problem in Iran is because the women start to make the hijab kind of loosely. And some of their hair was exposed, a little piece in their face exposed. So you are the morality police. So they bring these women in jail to train them how to wear the hijab. And the public is saying they beat them up. So there was demonstration in a lot of cities in Iran. And over 60 people already been killed. Because people are asking for women, freedom, liberty, life, women, and liberty. People are shouting out. We must know these things. Some people like religion because they make a rule. I don't mind Islam too, because you could have 5 wives if you're in Islam. If you're an Islamist, you could have 5 wives. And you could beat your wife too. The Quran says you could beat your wife. They say admonish her, deny your bedroom, and beat her slightly. So a lot of men like the Islamic rules because you could have 5 wives. In Grenada, you could only have 1. You got to be prudent. But in Iran and some other Muslim countries, you could have 5. You can't even go in Saudi Arabia with a Bible. I think these things are important for those of us who like freedom. Some people like to talk about communists and other religious organizations while they sit down high and dry in the United States of America. Some of Grenadians' strongest communists is in American country. Some of the most religious Muslim people is in Grenada, where they have all the freedom. They could even drink rum in Grenada. But if you hear them talk about the virtues and the goodness of other religions. So I think that was important. It's also important for us in Grenada to recognize the kind of freedom we have here. Sometimes if you don't know it, we have a set of freedom. During the revolution, it was not like that. The first thing the revolution went was against freedom of the press. So although people like Tillman Thomas would have supported the revolution and supported perhaps the dreams and aspiration of the revolution and the hope, Simon Thomas could not have accepted the fact that the revolution intended to smother freedom. And he opened his voice, and Maurice Bishop jailed him. So I'm saying all that because I'm concerned when a government just come in power and the government immediately start to refuse or trying ways to hinder freedom of information, I think is of concern. When a government comes in power and the government believes that they can incorporate political victimization in a political party. And why I say that? There's a number of people that wear green and yellow that are associated with the political parties. In fact, I would dare say that most senior workers in the public service supporting the NDC wear the yellow because of the pictures we've been seeing. You know, everybody walk around with a camera. When something happens, before they help you, they're snapping. But the National Democratic Congress is the first political party post-1984 that incorporate political victimization because they are targeting the people who wear green and find them. And what is so sad and unfortunate, so much of people shut them out. They must be waiting for them to see more. They must say it's a little bit, let me see what they're going to do more. So much of people, including the trade union. You see, the trade union leaders get entrapped. They were tricked and outmaneuvered by the National Democratic Congress. Perhaps they genuinely believe the NDC was a better option, and nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with union getting involved in politics and supporting a political party. Nothing is wrong with that. What is wrong is when the union intends to abandon its members, when the members are politically victimized and they decide to shut them out. I am saying the union is not qualified to collect agency fee anymore. They are not qualified. Perhaps we should have a serious discussion on that and agitate for it, that perhaps that should no longer be part of the laws of Grenada, where a union could collect agency fee. So it means if you fall in the bargaining unit, but you don't want to be a member of the union, you still have to pay the same sum that the members pay. They do not call it membership dues, they call it agency fee. Normally, unions in the past would automatically consider you as a member, and then you'll be entitled to the benefits of the union and the assistance of the union. But since the unions decide to renege on that position, and although these people were paying union dues for 9 years, you decide to walk away from them. And you seem that you give the National Democratic Congress your blessings that it could continue with political victimization. I am concerned about it because once this trend is established in Grenada, where will it end? Will you have to pretend you NDC to get a scholarship? Will you have to wear yellow clothes to get a teaching job? What will happen to the people who are militant? A number of people could change, you know, because when you go in the polling station, you could always pretend. But in the public, what would happen? You see, during the revolution, when a number of people intended to play quiet, the revolution initiated a program they call political class. They say you have to come to political class every Wednesday. And they claim that attendance in the political class would determine promotion in the workplace. Attendance and participation. So the revolution wanted to know how you are aligned. So even if you attended the class and you stay quiet, they would say you're not participating in the class. It was difficult to hold it, six and a half a dozen. And by that time, over 3 to 4,000 Grenadians left the country. Some people would say, boy, let me see if I could get a flight to America. Let me see if I could make it for Trinidad. Because they realize even if you wanted to stay quiet, you must attend the class. The classes that they were holding in different areas every Wednesday. So in St. Andrews, the classes used to be in the Grenville Recreation Ground. And whether he was working agriculture, post office, anywhere, all workers had to go in Grenville Recreation Ground in the morning on Wednesday for political class. So when I see the National Democratic Congress evoke the spirit of Maurice Bishop, I even understand they want to use the white flag without the red circle. That it means a little political plagiarism going on inside it. They want to take some of the aspects of the revolution, and that include victimization. And I believe we should point out to this young group that is a wrong trajectory. They should change their ways. They should not go down that route. And our brothers and sisters in the diaspora who like freedom, they have to understand that government of Grenada is the biggest employer, unlike in New York City. So you're not working with the federal government in New York. So after election in New York, whether Trump won or the Democratic won, it would not have affected your job. But in Grenada, when a government incorporates political victimization as part of the policies, it affects every aspect of your life. When governments say the principals of schools would employ the auxiliary and support staff, it was not by accident. It's designed. Because they firmly believe that the majority of principals are supporters of the NDC. All they have to do is to identify the schools where they are not certain of the principal and send a teacher that is yellow. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, morning.
Go right ahead, brother.
Punch. Mr. Pierre, I heard they saying that the new government in the campaign, I heard they mentioning about the party invoke Bishop and all this thing.
The spirit of the revolution.
But you know, there was a light where he tell people put up the light and honor Bishop. I don't see this as anything. Huh?
Why you think he did that?
He's just showing respect.
You think he's showing respect for Bishop, or he want to identify with some of the spirit of Maurice Bishop because he believes it is a political advantage?
Mr. Pierre.
Why do you believe he thought it was a political advantage?
Mr. Pierre, the guy might take a part or admire the man, but that don't mean.
Then why you think the party decided to incorporate political victimization as part of the policies?
Okay, so you change the discussion there.
No, just asking you. The same evoke Maurice Bishop spirit, and then you have political victimization.
I don't know why people keep saying about the evoke and all this.
Yes, because let me tell you why. Because the NDC had a number of public officers wearing yellow, and they're not firing those that were in yellow. They're going after the green that were in yellow. They're going after those who were in green, not those who go in yellow. So that is victimization. If they was going after all those who put on jerseys, then you show impartiality and fairness and say, based upon the rules, you ought not to do that.
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, let's not forget, March election, which was in 2000 and 13, eh? Mr. Pierre, the guy who was heading FIU got a call that we cannot work with you. He was sent to another area to work. The commissioner of police.
Was he transferred to a place of equal status?
So that's not victimization.
You see, caller, the public service provides rules and regulation, and a public officer could be transferred to places of equal status. He does not lose pay, and he cannot lose status. This is a different thing. They find individuals who work with government for 9 years. They are not going to a place of equal status. They are not getting paid. They're going home.
So
Now, that is a big difference.
do we have facts to back up all these things?
Well, I don't know what more facts you want, but all you have to do, listen, did you listen to the Attorney General when they asked her that?
No, I didn't get
But you see, these things are important. Why you think I read out some letters? You want me to read it out again in some of my program? Right, but not today. I don't have it close at hand
But
today.
you know that's the best Attorney General we have in a long time
The Attorney General,
at there presently.
well, she don't start to work yet. How you could call her the best?
I know she's good.
But
at
she
what-
don't start to work yet. You can't call her the best.
for me.
Well,
Yeah.
come on. You've been in discussion with me regular, and I believe you're reasonable and objective. She don't start to work yet.
So
Give
why-
her
why-
about
so
6
why
months.
would we run her down? Why would we
I'm not
criticize her?
running her down. She started by endorsing victimization and saying that is wrong. We must correct her immediately. That is why Tillman Thomas ended up in jail early on. He disagreed with Morris Bishop early and he ended up in jail.
Kenny Larson too?
Kenny Larson too.
Like Noel.
Lloyd Noel, but Kennedy Boudlal ended up in jail late. Because Kennedy Boudlal didn't disagree with Bishop early. He disagreed with Bishop later. Because while Kenny Larson was in jail, Kennedy Boudlal was telling them to give them water to bed. And you have to give them food. So they give them food, they chew up.
You remember Winston Courtney, that past commissioner of prison?
He was in jail early or late.
He was there with the same Larson and all that.
Right, so all these
And he still
men,
end up, Mr. Pierre, he still end up being commissioner of prison when this guy was in jail. You know?
these men objected. They said, no, you're going on the wrong track. So in the same way, rational, objective NDC in Grenada and in the diaspora should tell Dick Mitchell, you're going in the wrong trajectory. You're going after wrong people.
Yeah.
And
But
this
remember
is
that
going to
book-
make him better.
Yeah, you remember that book George Bison wrote, Island of Conflict?
You know when Brizan write Island of Conflict, he changed information in it. What he used to teach, he changed it.
Huh?
Yes, he changed it. He said who betrayed Fedo, but he realized he couldn't say that wrong, Bishop. So he changed it. That's why you see I don't pay particular attention to history. History is for the victors. When Monkey writes his story, Monkey always writes.
They say if we don't study our history, it will repeat itself.
Yes, so you're supposed to know history, but I wouldn't ask my child to study history in school.
Last thing before I go, Mr. Pierre.
Go right ahead.
They're asking for a labor commissioner at the moment, but I'm surprised that they're having people having to apply for that position.
Well, if you want a labor, what happened to the one that was there again?
No, they don't get rid of him. I think he stepped down or he make it time. I have to clarify that.
Right,
But
and then they had another one acting.
well, they should give that one the job.
And they're asking, well, yes, nothing is wrong with that because they must want a labor commissioner that they believe suits them. You see, because the National Democratic Congress adopt political victimization as part of the policy, they open themselves for unreasonable attack. Because one would ask, they want a labor commissioner now that suits them.
So what I'm saying, Mr. Cyrus Griffith was the past labor commissioner for many years. The man, he did well in the position. They should have somebody in the making if they know the guy is going out to put there.
The public service don't work, sir. You don't know about in the making. Sometimes you train 4 or 5 people, they go and study the master's degree, they forget labor.
Because they're asking for a master's degree in labor and economics.
Yeah, before you might have a guy in the public service in a good position, but in most now they want master's degree with experience. So
you
even
don't
if you
think the assistant labor commissioner, you don't think to be able to get a job.
Well, but sometimes the government don't want him. If they believe that he blood kind of green.
So Mr. Pierre, apply for the job now.
They might believe me blood green.
You might do a good job there.
No, you can't put me there. They might say this man on radio questioning deacons. What happened to you? And NDC will jump up there.
1989, Mr. Pierre, you was on the table negotiating with the 1989 with Blaze. You remember that?
Of course, we was there with Papa Blaze.
Yeah. When you get the call.
When the what?
When you got that call.
We was there with Papa Blaze. Papa Blaze didn't understand that time the union won the money on Christmas time. We want money to drink, we wine, we buy out all the furniture in the store, we make our wife happy, and then we hear Papa Blaze sell the telephone company.
Yeah.
And after that, they sell everything they could.
You was on that negotiating team.
Well, I'm tongue long. I'm tongue long. Thank you, Colin. Yes, you see, it's very important for rational minds in this country to tell Dick Mitchell you're on the wrong trajectory. The unions must understand that you either defend those workers or we start advocating that you are not qualified to collect agency fee. And you must give back these people their money. Because due process or natural justice was not used. I am not saying that they should not be fired because they wear green clothing. But I'm saying that they must be given due process. The union must represent them. And we must find out why the government feel that they must get rid of the green that wear green clothes, but not the yellow that wear yellow clothes. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
How are you doing today?
Great.
This is my first time calling.
Thank you, welcome.
I have a concern. If you are employ somebody to work, you can raise the pay before they start working. My question is, all you guys matching right left, not left right? Because you're supposed to see the ability of the workers and the abilities and everything else before you could raise the pay. No, I can't understand. It kind of bothers me because I can't really understand why he did that. Why is behind all this? Anyhow, you are doing a fantastic job, a job that you need to do on a daily basis. And by so doing, it will grow, and you will get support after a while. Because I know I give in this side 6 months before they start to destroy themselves. Have a good day.
You see, we have to want the government to succeed. We have to pray for the government. Now, Catholics like a lot of rituals and tradition. But one of the rituals and tradition Catholics have and encourage Christians, I think the Anglicans, Orthodox and others too, is to pray for your leaders. Pray for the Queen, pray for the King, pray for the Prime Minister, the opposition, your civil leaders, your parents. No, you don't want leaders to do bad things. You will always have enough justification to politic. People are going to make mistakes, but you cannot have a group of bright people sit down and plan to do wrong. I believe the National Democratic Congress plan to trick the people. They plan to go out there and campaign and tell people, we're going to make you permanent. Because the NNP is using you. They're giving you contract and they're not making you permanent, and they could make you permanent. So we're going to make you permanent. And when you get permanent, you could go in the bank. The National Democratic Congress knows that based upon the salary of the people, no financial institution want to see them, except the one the government investing in the developmental bank. No bank want to see you. If you have 4 children and you're working for $1,200, the bank don't want to see you. The bank even prefer you don't put your money in the bank now. Because the bank have too much money. That is what they call a very liquid. So they're charging you in the bank to put your money in the bank. Even the credit union don't want to see you. But the National Democratic Congress sat down and planned. And this is what I'm against. The NDC has not done nothing yet in running the country per se for you to be upset about. What they do is to sit down and plan to trick people. And that is the third time that the National Democratic Congress doing it. They did it in 2008. And they did it during the structural adjustment program, the one some people hail as the best program, the homegrown. It was during the National Democratic Congress period that we cut Belvedere nutmeg to plant banana. The National Democratic Congress plant a crop that matures between 10 to 15 years. They cut down a crop, nutmeg, that matures between 10 to 15 years to plant a crop that matures in 9 months. When they was told that this is the wrong belt, the banana is going to end up with too much leaf spot in this high belt, they didn't bother. It was the same period the National Democratic Congress gotten rid of the workers in Maryville, the agriculture station, Belvedere. Some of you who like Calypso might know Lord Tall, Shotty. They even get rid of him now. And then in 2008, after they promised to raise the old people pay to $400, they got rid of them. In the village of Paraclete alone, they got rid of a minimum of 5 women. I'm not checking man, I doesn't check man. 5 women. One of them she blind, visual challenges. One had 14 children. The youngest of them then now is 99 years old. She's still alive. And that was the period of time that the National Democratic Congress tricked the Imanis. Now in 2022, you come back and do the same thing again. After you inform the people that you're going to make them permanent, well, a lot of people believe you can't make them permanent, but you're not even keeping them. You go around giving them letters, and the trade union have a responsibility. They have a duty. They have an obligation to start to ask, let us determine which category of workers in Grenada have political jobs and which do not have political jobs. And let us insist that those that do not have political jobs do not wear a domino, an insignia, or identify with a political party. Don't even pray in a political party. So we'll protect these people. It is not an easy thing to have poorer people in particular the poorer people, have a job, and after 9 years, you lose the job because they say you're blood green. And in Grenada context, if your brother have green blood, even though you're quiet as a lamb, they say you're blood green too. So it's like the sister in St. Patrick's. She walking in the road. She boyfriend in another parish walking in the road too. And she have 5 children. She say she never opened she mouth in politics. She never wear jersey. She never go in no political meeting. But she boyfriend was a guana. They don't fire them yet, you know. But the girl begging the boy, don't go. Because the boy want to leave the job to go to Trinidad, and the girl begging him not to go. Wait till they fire. But if my afraid culture man, I'm going to laugh at him. He can't take the pressure in Grenada. If you want to know how hard it is, ask Gabe. When the revolution go for Gabe, they didn't get Gabe, so they take it, brother. Gabe was one of the youngest members on the GULP executive. So you know the revolution real one Gabe. He used to go around He was the head of the community brigade. And Gary they had to go around to tell people they lie on uncle. They lie on uncle. So when the revolution, Maurice Bishop and them was propagating the view that the snake in the zoo let go. And he makes 60 young one and he poisonous. And all country people start to curse Uncle Gary. Oh God, Uncle Gary, we fear the snake. Garvey and them used to go around from house to house to say not true, the snake in the zoo. But then that couldn't work. So Gary had boss take school children from the country to bring them in the zoo to see the snake there. That is how he was able to neutralize the rumors that caused havoc in the agriculture sector in the community. So the revolutionaries was thirsty for Gabi. So they didn't get Gabi. They take his brother. He spent 3 years and months in jail. This is what victimization does. This is the kind of bitterness and anger. When a policeman tell you that they take a hammer and broomstick to take out the toenail. When a relative tell you that after they kill Mackenzie in the woods, they say he leap. Just as how the French say the Carib leap. The French never tell us they kill the Carib and throw them over the road. They say no, they leap. So they respect them as heroes because they leap. So they never say they shoot Mackenzie. They say he leaped. Mackenzie too was a policeman that left and go in the woods and turn Rasta. He run from it as a Gary police. And he go in the woods and turn Rasta. But then when they were collecting Rastas, they used to go around with a truck and collect them Rasta, round up them Rasta in the woods. This was the kind of things that went on in Grenada. Even when the Americans give money to give, some of these poor people never get money. So this is why I wonder, why was it necessary for the National Democratic Congress to evoke the spirit of Maurice Bishop? And with the same vein, they wanted to sell marketing board. So I know you did not invoke the spirit for the purpose of socialism. How you not sell marketing board if it's socialism you're talking about? You want to sell electricity company, you ain't talking about socialism. So you evoke his spirit for the purpose of victimization. And the voices that silent no. You could counsel these young, exuberant individuals. You could counsel them no to change their trajectory. And that is why I speak. And I think it's unfair. And the union leaders, you all are young. So even though you get tricked, but it's a learning experience. Go and find out and represent these workers and ask the Prime Minister to rescind the letters. Take it back. Call back the letters and leave poor people, children alone. You already tricked them. You already promised to make them permanent. And there is no need for you to fire them because the treasury pregnant. No need to fire them. No need to fire them because you have no problem in raising your salary. No need to fire them. No need to fire them because you have no qualms in removing the cap. No need to fire them. Absolutely no need to fire them. So you are not firing them because of economic reasons. You find these people because of spite, because of bitterness. You see the privileges we have in Grenada, the rights we have. It did not come easy. It was tough. Eric Gary fought a battle to get some of the benefits of the trade union. Ask the trade union leaders. When the TUC wanted to open supermarket in Grenada, And they went to the government agreed and agreed to give them money. Ask them. They don't lose the computer. You see, it wasn't written in computer yet. So they must have it in the archives. It can't be like the courthouse. Everything in the computer, in the courthouse. So the courthouse could lose the computer. But the Grenada Trade Union Council will lose the record. The Gary government then agreed that the union should open business. Because unions in Canada and America, they have investment in Egypt. But the Grenada unions, Gary supported the investment program. They didn't come through with it, but the government had the support. And our unions have some of the strongest laws backing them in the Caribbean. This is why I'm disappointed with the trade union. Daisy has had and Mr. Grimes. Sometimes people are just stuck to be in the spotlight. But trade unions have to genuinely have passion and love for the cause. What cause you supporting now? Transformation cause that get rid of ordinary folks. What cause you supporting? You know? Let me just read this one from Facebook. You have a call on the line? Yes, so give us a call. The call number to call is 442-0175, and you could take on any topic. The transition team may be working for free. We have to speculate because we don't know yet. We have to give them a little time on the transition team. I know they're going to give us a list of all who is on the transition team and what is the kind of salary they're working for. They must give us that because they don't want us speculate and say the transition team is a way to keep some members of the National Democratic Congress quiet. So they will let you continue with your victimization program. So we're going to give them a little time on that. We know we have about 12 members on that team in agriculture. They have about 12 members to help the Minister of Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture work in agriculture all his life. And when he finish working in agriculture, he go and work with cocoa and nutmeg. And now you have about 12 members to help him. They show very little confidence in this honorable gentleman. But one hope. And Errol Bonaparte, the people who make up the NDC are haters. God don't like ugly. Not all of them. I think the National Democratic Congress, sometimes my heart goes out to them. They have lost election a lot of time. And they attract the bitterness, the anger, and the hate for Kit Mitchell and the NNP. So if somebody hates Kit Mitchell plenty, they join the NDC. And these people end up overriding the core NDC. And I think that's the challenge I have. How do you neutralize them? It's difficult. Because the NDC lost election on so much occasion, the haters took part of the nucleus of the NDC and they said, choppy on them others. They say, we don't want the old stock. So the older folks in NDC, who perhaps over the years, they become very quiet. Their significance is diluted. And they have the haters running the show. And I think that's the challenge that they have. And they have to dig deep within the resolve and look at the moral virtues and stand up for some issues. And one of them is for us to get rid of political victimization as part of the core policies of the National Democratic Congress. No other political party in Grenada, no other political party in Grenada have done that post-84. And it is not in the interest of the National Democratic Congress to go wrong and continue to cause people to lose their job. It's going to backfire on you. it's going to backfire on you. Grenada is not separated by ethnic grouping, not by race. You have family members, and within family members, you have different members supporting different political parties. So when you interfere with this level of victimization, you're going to also affect your co-members. It's going to be more difficult for you to expand and more likely for you to lose support. So our advice to you here is to backtrack, rescind the letters. I mean, examine it. You're not supposed to fire people that work 8 and 9 years with government without due process. Give them a chance to defend themselves. You stop some of the letters and you're telling them go. So the individual on holiday, when he comes in, say stay home. 9 years he working with government. You can't do that. You ought not to do that. You should not do that. Ask any lawyer in Grenada, even the one that like weed, ask him if you could do that. You're not supposed to do that. That is not right. It's a bit disgraceful. Just as we hear watching what's going on in Iran, over 60 people died because the morality police beat up a girl, 22-year-old, because some aspect that she hear outside. These people have a different culture and a different belief. But even here, our blood shudder, much less for what is going on here. Where people have their jobs, you never say that. You never advocate that in your political campaign. That people who didn't vote for you are likely to be disciplined. You never claim that. So it is wrong. It's not correct. It's politically a political crime you're committing there. It's not good. And he has never done before. And we want to thank you for being with us today. We always entertain your questions and we read some of your comments. But we believe that, well, I just see my brother Onisto. You said that NDC getting a 5 from you. I'm interested to know how much you will give the last administration. Onisto, maybe we'll have to talk about the last administration the next time. But the question was asked what NDC was getting. And I gave them the 5 and I gave my reasons and justification for it. And the 5 was to encourage them because they don't really start to work yet, but it was an encouragement, hoping that they could do better. Thank you.
The great and diverse be our ethnicities. The bonds that unite us are stronger than these. We dine, we pray, we love. We dance and we play. But we relate to each other. Rest in your way. Today as a people united as one. Determined and steadfast we stand. We look to a brand new horizon. The future now firmly in our hands. Raise your voices high and sing of your courage.